Hey there folks, and welcome to another video from aplanetruth.info. And before we get into this week's in NASA Lies again, I want to bring your attention to a couple of very important videos, much more important than what's going on with NASA and whether they're lying to us and stealing our trillions of taxpayer dollars. And this has to do with what's happening to our planet above and what the geoengineers are doing and have done, and what man has caused to happen up in the ionosphere. And what we've found is that the ionosphere is getting destroyed and allowing in deadly UVB ratings, not the UVA we're told, but a mass increase, over 1,000% increase in UVB rays we've recorded on instruments, and I posted it in this video. And what UVB does is it's causing the tree die-off around the world. Maybe you're seeing your trees die, maybe you're having trouble growing food, but this is happening all around the world, and it's being chronicled in this video. Unfortunately, we're also going to see a mass increase in skin cancer as well. So anyway, the second video here is another geoengineering attempt that they've tried in a lab and now trying up in the Arctic. And because the snow ice has melted so fast in the Arctic, especially since 2013 and the Arctic Ocean warming, that it's releasing mass methane time bombs into the air. So what the geoengineers are attempting to do using their HAARP and radio frequencies is blast these methane releases as they come up. Methane, when it's released, is over 100 times more toxic than CO2 and will rapidly increase the planet or the Earth temperature from here if they're unsuccessful. But the fact is they're making it worse, so we need to stop it right away. So please view that. All right, let's move on. So Gorstat, or the Discover, has released these pictures, the first ones of a full sunlit Earth, we're told, since 1972 in Apollo 17 when they released the photo of the blue marble. And what you'll notice here is the Photoshop guys at NASA love to put in little digs for those with eyes to see, to really show you how fake it all is. And so if you see this alleged photograph here of Earth, we see this little clouds in here. Well, we flip it over and turn it around, and what does it spell? S-E-X, folks, okay? These are the games they're playing with us. So over to this, and this is a time-lapse from Typhoon Sotalor as seen from space. And I'm going to play this, and what I want you to notice is from the alleged space station, this photograph of the eye of the storm of this typhoon. Notice the horizon here is perfectly flat. If this was truly a global Earth, we would see curvatures of the Earth, yet we don't see it in this time-lapse picture of the typhoon. Yet just yesterday we see this time-lapse photo from nasa.gov, and here's the ISS space station, here's the eye, and clearly we see the curvature of the Earth. Let's play this a little bit so you can see. So again, same typhoon, same space stations, but now we see a blue haze and a definite curvature of the Earth. Here we see no curvature, perfectly flat. And here we see the curvature of the Earth according to nasa.gov Photoshop specialists. All right. Now, also, I want to bring your attention to this windowsonearth.org, astronaut photography, the best images updated weekly. And I'm going to move this over here so we can see these images. And these are the latest images from NASA, allegedly. And they call them images. And look at this picture, folks. Looks perfectly flat to me. Now, even if these are clouds, they should be wrapping around the curvature of the Earth. This is hundreds of miles across. We should easily see the curvature of the Earth. Yet picture after picture, we don't see it until NASA does their Photoshops, and whoop, there's your curvature, and we got the space station in there just to boot. And here's the Aurora Borealis up north and the Great Lights. Again, the space station, the curvature of the Earth. All right, so now what I want to do is bring your attention to this recent release, just I think it was yesterday. And again, this is from nasa.gov. It's Epic View of Moon Transiting Earth. And maybe you saw this. And we're going to take this one apart because allegedly it shows the moon going in front of the camera from Gorstat or Discover. And I want you to notice a few things here. One is the dot here on the moon never moves. A second, you can see a hot spot right here on the Earth. And the hot spot is said to be created because this is the closest point to the camera. and it's because it's a sphere that we should be seeing a hot spot on the Earth. So they painted in a hot spot. You'll notice here there is no hot spot whatsoever. Notice the rotation and no hot spot. Okay, let's play this to here. And I want to stop it right here and bring up another point. So the size of the moon is alleged to be 1/4 the size of the Earth. Now also note that the moon is 238,000 miles closer to the camera of the picture that was taken. So here we're seeing the diameter of the Earth is 27% the size of Earth. So that's a little over 1/4. So 27% the size of the Earth is the moon. And here we see great detail on the moon. And folks, that ain't close to 1/4 the size of the Earth, right? Not even close. And here we see this picture, and I put it in the center so you could divide it up into quarters. Let me move this over here. And nowhere is this close to 1/4 the size. And especially this should be even larger. Divide that in a quarter, but this should be even closer or larger because it's closer to the picture. Now, some other anomalies we want to bring up here is that the color of the moon, and we don't see, this is supposedly in full sunlight, the backside of the moon, yet there's absolutely no detail on the moon whatsoever, and it's supposed to be more full of craters and rocks and all this stuff we're told on the backside, but clearly there's no color. Another thing about the color, the moon is said to, from 93 million miles away, the sun is, from Earth and the moon, is said that the sunlight reflects off of the moon to the Earth, so that on a full moon we can see by night in a forest. That's how much the sun reflects off the moon. Well, folks, what is the least reflective color after black? It's charcoal. It's gray. So the least reflective color of the moon, this round ball, where we see no sunspot, there's a sunspot there, there's no sunspot or moon spot here, no reflection. This is allegedly from 93 million miles away. The sun reflects to the Earth so we can see at night. So again, how did the astronauts walk on the moon with the moon reflecting all that light all the way to Earth so where we can see it evenly and continually, even though it should have a hot spot and it should reflect more sunlight in one spot than it does across, yet the moon reflects allegedly evenly across the whole spectrum of the planet Earth. Okay, let's move on. Before we get to here, I want to do a little talk on rotation. And we see the sun rotates at 1,000 miles, or the Earth rotates at 1,000 miles per hour. Now that's 24 hours to complete one rotation. At Ecuador, at the equator, it's a little over 24,000 miles. Completes it in one day of 24 hours. That's where they get the 1,000 miles per hour. Now we click to the moon. And what we read about the facts of the moon, again, it's 1/4 the diameter, 1/6 of the gravity. Yet 1/6 of the gravity from 238,000 miles away. It can move our oceans up and down twice a day. Think about that one for a little bit. Again, the atmosphere, there's no atmosphere, but it's 250 degrees during the day and minus 250 degrees at night. So if the astronauts were in their lunar module and they're trucking around in their moon buggy for hours at a time, how hot do you think the lunar module would have been to get back into when it's 250 degrees, okay? So here's what I wanted to bring up a point. So the rotation of the moon going around on its axis is 10.7 miles per hour, and at the Earth, around the Earth, it's 2,300 miles per hour to get all the way around the Earth in 28 days. But on its axis in 28 days, it also rotates at 10.7 miles per hour. All right, so let's go back to our image that just came out this week allegedly from Discover, and let's watch this video again. And again, let's watch that black spot. So even if the Earth is rotating at 1,000 miles per hour, and rotation of the moon is 10 miles per hour, we should be seeing that spot moving. It should move some. It doesn't move one iota, folks. All right. Now, the other thing we're told is that the face of the moon, this is the backside, but on the front side of the moon, we always see the same face of the moon. We never see its backside. So that's why they say it's rare that we see this shot. All right, so let's look into that a little bit. So if we look here and we see an explanation, we see that the rotation of the moon is locked by the gravity to the Earth, so it is showing the same face all the time. And here we see a counterclockwise rotation. Just note the rabbit ears. You can see the rabbit in the moon. Just watch the rotation of that as it goes counterclockwise. Now watch this. All right, so here we see a rotation of the moon counterclockwise, and here we see the rabbit ears going around and around in this time-lapse photography of the moon, allegedly. Yet we scroll down here and we see a time lapse over 28 days of the phases of the moon, and look at the left over here. And here we see the moon not rotating one iota. Here's the rabbit ears, here's the rabbit ears, here's the phases of the moon. So this is over 28 days, and we see zero rotation of the moon. Folks, and if that isn't enough, let's click over to here and show you another version of as the moon turns or doesn't move, that the face is always facing us. All right, so here's moon phases for 2013. We're going to set this in motion, and we're going to watch the moon rotate counterclockwise. Yeah. Oh, wait, what did it do? It started going the other way. Now here's the new moon. Here's coming up the quarter moon, silvery moon, the half moon. It's rotating, and then all of a sudden, watch what happens. It stops one way and starts reversing clockwise. Here we see a full moon going to a 3/4 moon, going to a half moon. Wait, now it's going back the other way, folks. Boy, I tell you, they just can't make up their mind trying to lie to us to tell us what story to believe about which way the moon is rotating so that we can always see its face. All right, let's move on from there. And finally, I want to close with this here. And again, this is just out August 7th, so they're fast and furious coming out with the information. Astronomers discover enormous protogalaxy, proto means primitive, 10 billion light years away. And what is this all about? Well, turns out that the images plainly show there's a rotating disk. Here we go again. The filament is more or less a constant velocity. Once the gas merges with the disk inside the dark matter halo, it's pulled around by rotating gas and dark matter. And we're reading that they discovered strongest support yet of a cold flow model of galaxy formation. This is the first smoking gun evidence of how galaxies are formed. And they get into telling you more about that. The measurements indicate the disk is rotating at 400 kilometers per second, somewhat faster than the Milky Way. Now, folks, 10 billion light years. Again, they use numbers so vast and so huge, but we got to call them on this stuff. So let's put in here 10 billion light years in the light year converter chart. So that's 10 million. So let's go 3 more zeros, and that's 10 billion. And so here's the number. So this is thousands, millions, billions, trillions, and quadrillions. And I don't even know what goes after quadrillion. So we're going to have to look at the big size chart to figure this out. And I'm sure they made this up just for NASA. So here's your quadrillion, 10 to the 15th power. So it's quintillionth, sextillionth is the number we're using now to describe what NASA says is 10 billion light years away, yet they're able to determine the galaxy's formations and whether it's rotating in orbits and all the rest of this crap. All right, that's it for me. I'll come back on another NASA video. Please check out these those other 2 videos I suggested about what is happening to planet Earth and the warming and the UVB rays. And I hope you all be well, and we'll catch you the next time. Thanks for listening.
Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Under the Masonic moon, plans were made by the bankers in the back room. Get the president out of the way and hire Stanley Kubrick. Masonic moon. Under the Masonic moon, everyone hoped that the boys would come home soon. One more day and they'll drop from the plane and splash into the ocean. Under the Masonic moon. Von Braun and his conspirators got a free ride to the States. They turned Nazi into Nassau. They just couldn't wait. Under the Masonic moon. Under the Masonic moon, plans were made by the bankers in the back room. The owl sees into the night, and the secret will never be told.
Contact light. Okay, engine stop. We copy you down, Eagle. Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.